I wanted to do something a little different with the way I was doing my grounding and lightning arresting on my tower. And I thought I'd just kind of take you on a journey with me on what I did. A junction box at the tower, I think, has several good advantages. It's a way to ground all of your cables, your coax, your rotator, your stepper, if you have one. The best place to put your lightning arrestors, because it's right there at the bottom of your tower. It's a waterproof cabinet, so your connections are not exposed to moisture and snow. And it's very easy if you want to make changes or you want to check your SWR, make sure it's not the coax coming from your shack to your tower. So I think there's a lot of reasons to go that way. There's several examples. The one over on the left is actually Mike's K7STO, a little different one here, a little simpler one here. But there are several, different forms of it. The one I decided to use was the Vivor Nima. I used a 24 by 24 by 8. And it was steel box. I wanted that. It was waterproof, dustproof. With a mounting plate, I could get it for about 169. One of the questions you have to ask if you want a junction box at your tower is what size do you want? They make them all sizes. I wanted one wide where my coax coming in and going out would make gentle turns. I didn't want them to be too tight. Another question is, how many cables do you have coming into the junction box? Currently, I have 6 coax runs from my shack to my tower. My step IR is grounded in its own ground unit, and my rotator is grounded at the shack entrance, so I didn't need to ground them there. And then what are you going to make the junction box of? And they make them out of fiberglass, but I wanted one of steel. I thought that was a little better for RFI and for grounding. And if you want a top-of-the-line one, by the way, go to KF7P Metalworks. His, similar to mine, you can get for an easy $477. That's the Rolls Royce of them. I went more the Honda. When I got mine, the first thing I did was drill holes in the bottom, 9 going in, 9 going out, and made sure my grommets were going to fit them. And then I bought both the grommets, the plugs, and some grommet coax seals to keep bees out primarily from KF7M. And they cost about 75 cents each, and he ships 2 days. Then I bought some saddle clamps to mount it to my tower from DX Engineering. This was, I felt, the best way both to ground and mount it. So that's what I did. And here you can see it attached. It stands off just a little bit from my Roan 45 tower. Then I began to take the plate out that you ground everything to, and I drilled holes for my lightning arrestors, also for my ground connection. And there are 3 really popular lightning arrestors you find now: the Alpha Deltas, the Morgans, and the Polyphasers. All of them, I think, are very good. I think Mike has the Morgans. I have the Alpha Deltas, but I think any one of them is probably good. They come in different powers. So you want to get, when you buy one for the most power you think you're ever going to run. And you can buy them with N connectors or 239s. And I'm using 239, so that's what I used there. They cost about $56 a piece. Then here's what it looks like inside, finished. And you can see on the left are my cables coming from my shack. On my right are the cables going out to the antennas. By being in an enclosure like this, it makes it very easy if I want to go out and, for example, check the coax from my shack to the junction box. I can just put a dummy load on one of these, run an SWR, see if the cable's good. If I want to check the SWR on an antenna, I can just take it off in the right side and check it, and it'll be fine. I did use, between the lightning protectors and the mounting plate, Penetrox A, which reduces corrosion and helps it be a good electrical connection. And I did fill out all the 239s with stuff, that's the name of it, which is really designed to prevent moisture and fill up the space. And so you get a good connection that way. If you didn't want a junction box, you could use your lightning arrestor connected to a ground rod directly, or to a bar connected to your tower. The disadvantage of this is you're going to have to seal them all. And so if you want to check, like your SWR for either any cable or for an antenna, you have to take your sealing off, and it's exposed to the weather. So that's why I used to, actually the one on the right was on my tower before. My tower is grounded by, I have 3 70-foot number 4 ground lines that go out about the same angles as my guying. Each of the 70-foot runs has 5 ground rods attached with Cadwell Welds. But some of my ground rods are only 4 feet deep because of my soil. It's just solid rock out here. Then all of those are connected to a circle around the tower, and each leg of the tower and the junction box are connected to the circle. So all of this becomes a ground. If I get hit with lightning, the hope is that the lightning arrestor will blow, and then it will dissipate through this system around there and not make it back to my shack. If you're not familiar with Cadwell or Hager, those are the 2 big ones. It is a way that you actually weld your grounding wire to your ground rods, and they work about the same, but once it's welded, it will never come undone. And the point is, if lightning hits it, it's not going to de-weld on you. It's not going to come unsoldered or something. Then just for kind of to show the back, there's the back of the tower. I have a Balun for all of my wire antennas. So there's one for my 80-meter inverted V, one for my 60-meter inverted V, one for my 40-80 envious, and then I have one for a 1080 in-fed half wave. And all of those then go into an antenna switch that goes into then the junction box. I replaced, in fact, when Murph was out and several of the guys came out and helped me, all of my rope, and I went to mass strand rope. Previously, I'd used really pretty good quality nylon rope, but I found it was fraying on me, honestly. And I thought, I don't want to mess with this. So this rope has no RF interaction. It is designed to use it as a guy wire. Instead of a wire, you can use it for guying. It's UV resistant, has very high strength, almost no stretch to it at all, very weather durable, and they have all kinds of accessories for it. And I found that around my place, because I'm using tall trees and pulleys and all that, I tend to use really it's 5 millimeter, 0.193 diameter, has a breaking strength of 1,190 pounds. So, even if one of my wire antennas ices up, the wire will break long before the rope will. And interesting, by the way, on EHAM, it has a perfect 5.0 rating. But I really recommend it to you. It's great stuff. I'll never use anything else except that for my wire antennas again around here. And then for sealing coax, I don't know how many of you, but I used to use a Scotch 33 and coax seal, and it's a gooey mess. And if you ever try to take it off, it's always a gooey mess. Then I went to what they call magic tape, and I used that for a while. I will tell you, I'll never go back to either of those ever again for a connection. This Timflex 2155 is just fantastic. It is the easiest sealer I've ever worked with for sealing coax connections. I really do recommend it far better than any of the other options. And I think everybody knows how you do it. You first put a wrap of either 3M33 or 88. 88 is just thicker. And you only put that on because then it makes it easy to remove it later. That's the only purpose for that. Then you wrap it with the Teflex, and that makes a seal. And it is just so much easier to work with than any of the other things I've used. I just really think it's fantastic. Then you put a third wrap on the outside of either 33 or 88, and that's really your ultraviolet protection. If you do that, then all you got to do is take a razor blade, slit down it, and it'll peel right off, and your connection will look brand new. If you had any questions, I'd be glad to take them.
Yeah, L7UVH, a couple of them I have is the wrap that you did seal in the coax. Did you use that inside the box?
No, because I bought a weatherproof box, there's no point to put the wrap, there's no point to seal them. And that makes it easier then to do any adjustments I want. That's one of the reasons I went to a box. I was finding every time I was troubleshooting, I was having to cut through all that sealer stuff, and the box eliminates that.
Mel, comment?
Yes, Mike.
When you wrap with the electrical tape, 33 or 88, if you first put it on with the sticky side out, so there's no residue when you cut it off, works much better. Wrap it with that, and then if you're just using 33 or 88, after you get a complete wrap on it with it, then reverse it so the sticky side is down. That's another way to do it.
I did not do that, but I have heard that, and that is a great idea.